everyone, my name is Caitlin, and these are my most anticipated January releases. I've already seen a lot of amazing videos so far of people doing their most anticipated 2018 releases, and I don't know how anyone's been able to narrow it down to just like 20 or 30 books for a whole year when there's just so many new releases coming out. It's crazy. So I've decided to do it on a month-to-month basis. I'll do like a top 10 every month. And yeah, this is my January top 10, I guess. I'm going to go in publication order so that they're all a little more organized. There's also like 6 on my list, I think, that are just January 2nd alone. So I'll just group those all together and then go from there. I should also mention I'm not going to go into a whole spiel about all the synopsises. What I'll do is I will link those down below from GoodReads if you want to check them out. What I'm going to be talking about is just basically why I want to read these books, particularly what piqued my interest, and maybe the same things will pique your interest, and then you can read the synopsis down below, or maybe you've actually heard of some of these books already and you can tell me why you want to read these books, what piqued your interest. So the first book on my list is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have yet to read a Holly Black book, but I do have one planned for this year. And I know that her and Cassandra Clare are friends and they have a middle grade series together, and I just started falling in love with Cassandra's work and I'm more familiar with it now. So before I read the middle grade series, I would like to read more from Holly Black. And this book seems like a great place to start because there's fairies and nobility, and those are two things I love and I want to read more about. The next January 2nd release is Gunslinger Girl by Lindsay Ely. I am not a Western fan at all, and now you're probably wondering why is it on your list then? But, it is something I want to get a little more into. The thing about me is that it's not necessarily the genre, it has to be the right plot. So it is mostly the genre, let's be honest. I'm not a huge Western fan, but I'll give Natalie Portman as an example. She just released a movie, I think last year or this year, fairly new, and I think it's called Jane Got Her Gun? Jane Got a Gun? I don't remember now. But because Natalie Portman, I'd be so over that. I would love to watch it and just give it a try. And this book is very much similar to that, in that it's a Western, and I'm not a huge Western fan, but the main character is named Serendipity Jones, also known as Pity. I thought that's a cool name. So reading about her more, she's described as Katniss Everdeen meets Annie Oakley, and I know Katniss Everdeen, obviously. Don't know Annie Oakley 100%. I know she's a famous outlaw, and I know that from watching Pokemon. But, that alone would be enough to get me to try the book. I do want to read more strong, badass female books, and there are a lot out there now compared to when I was growing up, or maybe I just didn't know about them growing up. But, yeah, so this I think would be a good introduction to the genre. I am reading one Western this year. I don't know if that one is going to necessarily be a good introduction to the genre, but it's on my shelf. I might as well give it a try. And it does look somewhat interesting. But this one is definitely, it screams Western. So who knows? It looks good. I'm willing to try it. Next release on my list is Everlist by Sarah Holland, which I think I talked about in my last video a little bit. It is one of my more highly anticipated releases. And I think the thing that really got me and sold me on it immediately is the In Time vibe. Did anyone watch that movie with Justin Timberlake? It has, from the sounds of it, it has a very similar plot where time is money. And I like different bartering or currency systems, so the fact that you pay with time, it's interesting to me. I really love the movie, and I'm hoping that the book is very similar. I know they're not the same thing, but in that regard, I hope they're very similar, and yeah, that's all I can really say about it. That's the one thing that got me. It was like, yes, time is money. Let's read this. Next on my list is As You Wish. I don't know the author's last name very well. Is it Chelsea Sidoti or Sidoti? Please let me know if you know. But this book basically reminds me, it seems like the epitome of be careful what you wish for. This town, everyone gets one wish, and it sounds like everyone seems to regret their wish, and this one character is either saving his wish or he's trying to escape the town, or both. I don't remember exactly the plot, but the fact that these characters are all wishing for stuff and then not getting what they expected sounds very similar to a novel I would like to write, which you should probably know about me. I read a lot of what I want to write about so that I can get more of an idea. And in this case, I'm not the kind of person, I am a little pessimistic at times, but in this case, I am optimistic where it's like, yeah, wish for whatever you want. Just, you'll get everything you ever dreamed of. And this book seems like, no, you wish for this, no, you're gonna get this. You wish for this, you're gonna get this. And it's like, oh yeah, I should probably be a little more pessimistic in this case because I'm just, yeah, I like to believe that you get something that you ask for, and no, it's not. You'll get what you ask for, but not in the way you expect, and that's, I need to work on that for my creativity. So I am really curious to read this and see if I can learn something from it. Next on the list is You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And this book is about twins. So, first off, that was the thing that piqued my interest because my cousin just had twins late October and they're so cute. I don't think we've ever really had twins in our family, not that I know of. Maybe distant relatives or further up the line, but nothing. I don't have any cousins that are twins that I can think of. So, yeah, that I want to learn more about twins because they're just so cute. And one of the things I have seen from reading a few books is that they each have individual personalities. Like they're not just they're not a set necessarily. A lot of them are more individualistic. And this book particularly, one twin is a music prodigy and the other is like a doctor or a med student. So that's, yeah, I want to see more of that in twin books. And the other thing that got me with this one is that there's a lot of talk about, they get tested to see if they have a gene for Huntington's disease, which is something that I've wanted to do. I'm hesitant. I don't know if I really want to know if I have genes like that, where it's like, oh, I'm more susceptible to cancer. I should probably eat this way or change my lifestyle or, see if there's anything I can do. So that's intriguing. I want to see how they deal with that because they both get tested, and one comes back with negative results. They don't have the gene, and then the other one does, and they deal with it in different ways. And it doesn't say in the synopsis who deals with what, and obviously because that's a surprise. But I have ideas, and I want to see if they're right. And yeah, it's different. The final January 2nd release is Meet Cute, and this is an anthology, so there are a bunch of different authors. I don't know any of them off the top of my head, I'm sorry. Um, but I haven't read an anthology yet, and this one really got me. I think this is adorable just from the looks of it. I haven't read it yet. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to be adorable or maybe twisted. All I know is that people are meeting other people, and this is a story of how they met. And it sounds like it's very much like My Last Boyfriend and I, which it was a long time ago, but I think that's the only boyfriend I've had where we met and it was very intense, or it was like, I want to say life changing in a way, but that's not really the right word. I don't know how to describe it, but my other boyfriends and I were friends. We met through school. Typical cliche, we dated in middle school, blah blah blah. Whereas my last boyfriend and I, it's like very sudden, and we didn't expect anything to happen from it, and it was very cute at the time. Not as cute now, but it was cute at the time, and that's all that matters. It was a story that I can tell my kids one day if I have kids. But it's, yeah, I want to read more stories like that. I need more romance novels in my life and just live through them. The next book on my list is a January 16 release, and it is Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. And I've been struggling for the last 5 minutes trying to figure out how I wanted to talk about this book. It's probably the heaviest on my list. It deals with Islamophobia, and I don't know anything about Islamophobia. I mean, I know of it, obviously, and I can only imagine what someone who's dealt with what the main character deals with. I obviously won't be in their shoes, and it's hard. I don't know what to say to this. I want to learn more is basically the point I'm trying to make. That I've been trying to make for the last 5-10 minutes. Um, yeah, I can't put myself in someone else's shoes like that, but at least I can see what it's really like from this perspective. And if anyone has any other representation for this, if there's any other books out there similar to this, let me know. I would like to read them. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's a very eye-opening synopsis. That's all I can really say about it, is that I want to read it because hopefully it'll open my eyes to the fact that the world is not all sunshine and rainbows, which is what I've been trying to realize for the last 2-3 years since university. I sheltered myself before that, and now I'm trying to open myself up to more of the darker elements. I've been trying to actually read the news instead of just skipping over headlines. I've been trying to see what's really happening out there because this is fiction, but it's not fiction. You know what I mean? It's this stuff happens, and it's not okay. The next two books on the list are January 23rd releases, and this first one is Let's Talk About Love by Claire Can. The first little thing that caught my eye, which is cute, is that she's working at a library, which I can relate to. But the main thing that caught my eye is that the main character is asexual. And my best friend of, oh god, I think it'll be 15 years in 2018. It's been 15 years. My best friend of 15 years came out to me as asexual just a couple years ago. And it was a little bit of a shock, but it wasn't like, there was no drama around it. It was just like, oh, and I started asking a few questions, and I haven't really asked many questions since, but you know, it is something that I want to learn more about. And not only do I want to find more books like this for me just so I can learn, but I want to find books for her because I mentioned one that I'd heard in passing has possible asexual representation in like the second or third book. I don't know for sure because I haven't read it. But on Skype, her ears perked up and her eyes lit up and she was immediately excited. And obviously she hasn't come across that many books with representation for her. And, you know, if I can find, you know, one or two that I can give to her, like this one, I think I'll be giving to her when I see her in February. You know, that'd be great. Like, she needs more of that, and I want more of that. And yeah, so I'm very excited for this one. It sounds right up our alleys for both of us. The other January 23rd release is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I mentioned that the Western was out of my comfort zone. This book is definitely out of my comfort zone. It's about zombie-like creatures. I think they're called shades, and the word necromancy comes up a lot in the synopsis. I did have like 10 other books on my list because I had it at 20 and I narrowed it down to 10. So I probably could have picked another book. But honestly, this one actually was in my top 10. The other ones were okay, but this one did intrigue me a little bit. I have been wanting to give myself, you know, more of a challenge and read things that aren't in my comfort zone. The word necromancy is a little scary to me. Not scary, but not appealing usually. But I have been playing Dungeons and Dragons lately, and the word comes up a lot in the player's handbook, and I've thought about maybe making a character in the future that deals with the dead, just as something different. But yeah, if I were to read any book, I think this would be the one, because it also talks about nobility, which is an instant win for me. I'm like, okay, royalty, let's do this. So there is some balance. It's not just like all zombies or all death and stuff. There is one little element that I can find that I'm like, ooh, interesting. The final book on my list is a January 30th release, and it is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I'm getting an Inkheart vibe from this one. I could be completely wrong. It's been a while since I read Inkheart, but from what I remember of it, there's something in here that seems very similar. So the premise of Hazelwood is that the main character's grandmother is a cult classic writer, has a cult following, and one of the characters from her stories comes out and kidnaps the main character's mother. And I'm pretty sure in Inkheart there's a character that comes out of the book and kidnaps or terrorizes someone. I don't remember now that I'm thinking about it. I could be completely wrong. But that was the vibe I got, and I thought, ooh, because I really enjoyed Inkheart. Like I said, I don't remember much, obviously, but I enjoyed it at the time, and this one sounds very similar. And I think the classics that her grandmother wrote are fairy tale-esque, which also appeals to me. I like fairy tales. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for my top 10 January releases. If there was any that I mentioned that you're interested in reading in the new year, let me know. Or if there's any that I didn't mention that you're interested in reading, let me know. There are a lot. I had 20 books on my list originally and narrowed it down to 10. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good year for releases. We'll see as the year goes on, but I have good feelings. So, stay tuned for another one of these videos at the end of January. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!